Hi, I'm just doing a little experiment here that we've conducted, and what we're looking at is a couple loaves of raisin bread. Now, this is a standard raisin bread here, and this is an organic raisin bread. The stale date on this one is March 23rd, and the stale date on this one is March 30th. Now, the ingredient list is a little different between the two. The ingredient list for the regular bread is enriched whole flour, sun-made raisins, water, vegetable oil, soybean and or canola, modified milk ingredients, wheat gluten, yeast, sugar, raisin juice concentrate, cinnamon, salt, toasted wheat crumbs, monoglycerides, sodium stearyl 2-lactylate, sunflower oil, corn syrup solids, lemon juice solids, natural flavor. May contain soya, egg, sesame seeds. The organic bread contains white flour, filtered water, raisins, walnuts, starter, which is white whole wheat rye, natural Canadian honey, butter, sea salt, and yeast, all certified organic. Both of these breads are stale, and so we're going to take a look at the breads. So we'll start off, let's take a look at the organic. So I'm going to tear open the package here. It's been sealed, not open. And I think it's going to be pretty apparent when we do this. You can see that the bread is covered with mold, which is pretty typical of what we expect of a bread. We expect to see molds growing on the bread. Here we go. So you see we have two different kinds of molds. We've got a blue-gray mold going on here. We've got a yellow mold going on here, wrapping itself around. You can smell the mold now that I've opened the package. It's pretty much permeating the bread as we take a look at it here. We have different kinds of mold going on over here as well. Bread is pretty solid as well. It's lost most of its moisture content. There's still a little bit in there, but it's not like toast yet, but it's very firm. So let's take a look at the other bread and see how it's doing. And we'll take it out of its package here if we can. Lift it through. Get it out. You can see there's some crumbling going on with this bread as well as we bring it out. There we go. There we go. Okay, so here's our loaf of bread. Raisin bread. It's still very spongy, just like very similar to when it was new. We can see some mold a little bit on the bottom here, but more dryness and crumbling going on than the colored molds that we see on the other bread. I'm not seeing any of those colored molds going on in here. As we open up the bread itself, we can see a little discoloration, but see how it's still all spongy, very soft and pliable. The way the raisins look like they've disintegrated. The holes are here where the raisins were, but the raisins themselves have disintegrated. One of the reasons I wanted to show this is because we said this has a stale date of March 23rd and this has a stale date of March 30th. But what I didn't tell you is today is April 8th, 2014. So this one's about 16 days past its stale date, and you can see all the mold. This one is actually March 30th, 2013 was a stale date. So this loaf is actually over a year old, and look how spongy it is, look how little degradation there is associated with this bread. That is something I find interesting, and the reason I find it interesting is that I'm not sure whether the bread has maintained itself this way so well because of the ingredients, or whether it's because of something that's been added into the packaging, sort of impregnated into the plastic, so that it doesn't have to be listed as an ingredient. Either way, it's got to be pretty strong stuff to keep the molds from growing, and I don't know if I'd want to eat it or not.